Hey everybody, this is Kurt Molly again with a good friend of mine, Shelby Larson. So I've known Shelby for many years, and I'm trying to think where we originally met at. I want to say it was at some type of mastermind. Now that I think about it,
It
in
had
one
to
way or
be.
another. Essentially, Shelby's been in Austin. She lived in lots of different places, but basically, kind of through the network. I think Keith Baxter somehow introduced us at some point in some mastermind. That's exactly what it was, because it was
It was.
SEO stuff. See, Shelby's had a really interesting career. She's done lots of different things. You may not know this about Shelby. She has 20 to 30 kids. We'll talk about that here in just a couple of minutes. But she does take in other foster kids and stuff like that, where she helps out lots of people. I shouldn't say foster kids, the wrong kind of label. You help lots of different people. It's one of the things that I love about you. You've had a large network of stay-at-home moms that have helped you, that have formed SEO, that have done other things with websites and branding. Right now, you're working on a company that's Nevertheless, which we're really talking about brain science, which I love, mindset, having very specific practices. So the main reason that I wanted to interview you is because, well, quite honestly, is you've had a lot of different businesses in the economy that's done this. We're talking about the same thing here, pivoting, whatever we want to call it. But you have some really great ideas, and you've helped a lot of people down the road. So I just figured, let's have a really great interview. There's a couple of things that I really want to ask you that I want everyone else to hear. So thanks for being here, Shelby. Really appreciate it.
I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much. I know it's funny you thinking about where we first met. I just feel like I've always known you at this point.
That's actually, you know what it is. Now that I think about it, I'm usually pretty good at this. Is the very first mastermind I was ever in was with Keith Baxter.
Me
I was
too.
invited. I know I was invited because you were there. Now that I think about it, I was invited to this room on the east side of Austin where the air conditioner ran out. I was late and I brought breakfast tacos. You were there. And then the air conditioner didn't work. And we ended up going to Ryan and Perry's apartment that they
Yep.
had rented for corporate. And as we're going up the elevator, I was telling the story with Keith Baxter. I interviewed him too. We were going up the elevator with about half the attendees. And I'm brand new. First mastermind I've ever been to. I don't know. I'm just like, I don't know any of these people. I know you. You're kind of famous. I know. Someone in the elevator riding up goes, wow, if this elevator goes down, half the internet goes down. And people started laughing. We're like,
Wait,
oh
what?
my goodness. And I saw you speak on stage at TNC. And I'm like, oh yeah, I know Shelby. And then, yeah, through the years and stuff like that, but I'll never remember. That was my very first time I was ever surrounded by smart people who really accepted me, didn't judge me, was really nice to me. And I'm like, man, I'd love to offer people the exact same thing. So yeah, you were there in the very beginning now that I think about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sweet
So
story.
let's talk about this. So you've worked with lots of different people over time. Like you've really kind of figured out this way to kind of work from home, work with
Yeah.
other moms. You've
Yeah.
really figured out over the years how to not only have an online game that you're helping with branding, but really help a lot of people. And
Right.
that's where your company is formed now. Do you want to talk about the company that you're working on now?
I do. So you're right. So my history is that I owned my own digital marketing agency from 2007 and to December of 2018 when it was acquired. So you're right. I have worked with so many different businesses and helped scale them through all kinds of challenging times. And as you know, when you're working with businesses, it's not just about the business tactics. It's about helping the founders understand how to mentally navigate these things, because everything in your
Yes.
mindset impacts your business, right? Like if only business was just business tactics, 50% of it, if not
I,
more, is what's going on up here, right?
I just got done interviewing Justin Christensen, and Justin, he runs this CRO business, rate
Yeah. Oh
optimization.
yeah. It's great company.
And he's like, oh my goodness, I just got off the phone with someone who wants to stop. They just think the mindset is everything's slowing down, but ad cost is half. Their sales have doubled, but because of the fear in their head, they're like, no, we'll just go and
Yes.
shut it all down. So please tell us more about Nevertheless, because people make
Yes.
weird decisions because of fear that make no sense whatsoever.
Yes, I'm so excited that you brought that up. So our brand, Nevertheless, is based around, it's a methodology that we've developed that's based around the neuroscience of happiness and joy. And I actually pay tribute to my brother-in-law who passed away January of 2018. He committed suicide. I know I was in a high-level mastermind actually with Kurt when I got
And
that
right across the
call.
table when you got the call. Yep.
It was a very traumatic event, yeah. But so many amazing mindset shift happened through that. It was actually finding some of his literature and some things that he had focused on during his life that made me start thinking about the concept of Nevertheless. And when I started studying the neuroscience of happiness, it was kind of like you and I talked about, Kurt. Everything found was so exciting. And it's like when you go and see a speaker, right? And you're resonating with what they have to say. You're like, that is what I need. If I have that thing, everything's going to be better. And you're stoked, and you go home and you have absolutely no idea how to apply that thing to yourself, to your business, to your world whatsoever. And it's super frustrating because you've seen the light of like what could help you. You have no idea how to apply it. And that's how I feel about the neuroscience of happiness. We can't control everything that happens in our lives. We can't control it, but we're 100% responsible 100% of the time with what are we going to do with that, right? And so this methodology, what we did is we were working with a neuroscientist, Michael Menino is amazing. And we were able to harness all of the different aspects of neuroscience of how you retrain your brain to start processing your experience in your world differently, so that fear and pain doesn't have to be a blocker to experiencing joy and happiness. Our goal is to help humankind in general develop the skill set necessary. And it is a skill set that is developable, that can be developed, that can be developed, so that regardless, whether it's your business going under, or a global pandemic that makes you shift, or loss of a loved one, or drug addiction recovery, depression, whatever it is, there is an actual process that you can do to retrain your brain to filter your experiences in a different way, so that you're not caught in rumination and victim thinking and painful experiences all the time just because there's something painful in your life. And that is exciting to me.
So one of the things, and I love brain science. So Rhonda was on here. Rhonda Britton, as you know, Rhonda, of course.
She's my client.
Great. Perfect. Right. Dan Clark as well too, for brain.fm.
I use it every day.
So this is really, really good for lots of different reasons. So when we start talking about the brain science of happiness, I just want to be very clear with people. Sometimes you hear just these labels, and that's what they are. They're just labels. And this is very important to understand. We can talk about this here in just a moment. I want you to dive into this. This is not made up, what I'm telling you. So you may hear something like, oh, joy of happiness. Sounds like some hippies sitting around. And
totally.
Actually what it is this. There are very specific ways to label things in your life and the way that you tell yourself your own story. There's something that I listen to almost every single day. I'd go out for a walk. I'd put these headsets in, and it just kind of helped get my brain straight. And this is part of my story. And I'll never forget, I can almost say this word for word. There's a mantra that I listen to that basically says this. It doesn't matter if it's job loss, divorce, or even death. None of these events have an emotion in itself. It's only the story we choose to tell ourselves around that specific event. The event itself holds no emotion. And we really think about it, that's what trauma really comes to. Like, when I was 14, my dad didn't buy me a bike, so I don't ride a bike. Okay, you're 40 now. Like, someday you're gonna have to get over that story. I know, but my dad didn't love me because he didn't hug me, and that means I didn't get a bike. No, it's a story in your head. It's just a bike. That's all it is. And so many people get wrapped up in these stories. When you change the labeling, you change the neuroscience, you change your brain structure to completely reset your emotions. So did I just make that up? We talk about that?
No, you're in the right vein. We talk about that there's only two things. Well, before I go into that, I have two quotes that I want everybody to have for the rest of their life. And one is by Mark Twain. And it goes like this: it's not what you don't know that gets you into trouble. It's what you know for sure that ain't true. Okay?
Yes.
My methodology is formed around that. And the second one is, and this is a truth, what you think, believe, and feel about what just happened is far more impactful on what will happen next than what actually happened. That is also a truth.
Say that one more time.
What you think about what just happened is more impactful on what's going to happen next than what actually happened.
Yeah.
So in any given moment, you only have two things. You have the indisputable black and white facts. They're just the facts. It's what happened.
Right.
Everything else is your perception of those facts and what they mean and the story you attach to it. You cannot control the facts. I cannot control that my brother-in-law took his life. I cannot control that 2 months later, my daughter was diagnosed with some of the same diseases that he has. I cannot control those things, but I can absolutely control the story she tells herself and the world about what she can and can't do because of her disease. And I have watched my daughter completely turn around her physical health based on how she's thinking about herself, right? Like, this is fact. And in talking with the neuroscientist, he says, this is a very simple, I'm giving you a simplification because
Absolutely.
this is a very easy system, but it's not easy. It is not easy to transcend pain. It does take some work. You have to recreate those habits in your brain. But absolutely, what we humans have a tendency to do is create meaning around anything that happens in our life.
Yes.
So what we can't do is BS ourselves. We can't make up a story to make ourselves feel good because we're intelligent. That's never going to actually change our brain pattern. So this is not about fake it till you make it. It's about, we can't change the facts. So why wouldn't we create meaning in a story that is empowering, but doesn't change the facts? We tend to have a default. This happened to me. But when you are 100% accountable for your own happiness, for your own emotional state, which is the number one, it's the only prerequisite that our methodology lives and breathes on, which is you have to be willing to be 100% accountable for your own personal state. And that is a very complicated concept when someone's in pain, because I'm responsible feels a lot like I'm to blame. But as we've already talked about, it's not our fault, a lot of things that happen, but it's 100% our responsibility what we're going to do with it. And if we can be 100% responsible, then we have the power of change. Having the ability to make changes puts us in a position of power, and we cannot be victimized. So this methodology is all about owning our own state in the most positive, beautiful way possible, and learning to train your brain to fill in the gaps, not through the lens of trauma, not through the lens of pain, but through the lens of growth. And it doesn't mean that hard things don't happen. It doesn't mean that things out of our control don't sometimes train wreck our life. Like, that happens. It's about how to navigate that without it stealing and controlling your happiness.
This is great. This is really good. So, I mean, Shelby, like I said, I've known you for many years. You've been involved in a lot of different businesses. This sounds like fun. I mean, we talk about branding. Branding's cool. You can help some people. But man, when you can unlock these patterns in people's brains so they make better decisions, that's really what it comes down to, right? Like the pursuit of happiness, the science of happiness, whatever we want to call it and classify it. When you make better decisions and you feel comfortable with yourself, it unlocks things that just, what I feel that I had suffered from for many years, and I know lots of people do, especially in the economy now. Like, we're recording this will run all of 2020. But like right now when we're recording this, downtown Austin's boarded up. Things are really crazy.
Yeah.
Different types of people out there. And I'd like for you to talk about this for a minute. Is type number one, oh my God, why this happened? What's going on? Why? Oh, when I turned the door handle, it was red. That means it was bad. And when I turned it right, that means that it could have been a virus. That's what happened. And then Jesus told, and then there's all these stories that people completely make up that now they're confined and they literally just spin there and they're like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And they don't do anything, right? And there are other people that are in a time like this that seem very calm, reserved. They're making better decisions. There is the, oh my goodness, why did this happen to me? And what specifically is going on right now that I can do about it? Do you want to talk about the difference between those two?
I do, and I'm going to highlight my points through a story. So I interviewed a friend of mine named Michael Lozzi. There's actually a YouTube video of this I can give you to give out to your membership and your people. When he was 18, I live in Utah. He was snowboarding here at Snow Basin, and he fell. He's like, it wasn't a remarkable fall. I just fell and I couldn't get up ever again. And he's a quadriplegic from the T12 down.
Wow.
In your example, a lot of people, this is their reality. I fell. I'm paralyzed from the waist down. I will never walk again. Cannot have kids. I may not be able to have the career, right? Michael Lozzi said, I fell. I'm paralyzed. I refuse to live in a wheelchair. Did some research, worked with this company in Utah, built these leg braces. It's all physics, no technology. Retrained the muscles he does have access to shift his weight different. This man walks everywhere he goes. He drives a car. He's married. He has a kid. He's one of the top ethical hackers in the country, hired by the government and businesses. And his nevertheless story is not knowing how to do something is not the same as it being impossible.
That's great.
That is the difference. And that's what we're seeing in this pandemic. We're seeing the people who say, I'm dying. This is horrible. The world is ending. And we see people like Michael that say, this sucks. I cannot walk again on my own, but I will not live in a wheelchair. And he's since then coached one additional person out of a wheelchair. Wow. That's the power of a nevertheless mindset. It's world changing.
So you'll see a link up here on the screen here as well. It's the belt.live/nevertheless. When they go in and click on the link, what are they going to go find? What are they going to see?
Absolutely. So we did a quick pivot, like a lot of people in the world. Our events are closed down, our docuseries can't be filmed, our manufacturing shut down, and we made a decision as a company in our annual planning in 2020 that everything we do will be run through the filter, are we serving humanity the best? And we decided, you know what, we can't manufacture our system. My designer right now is turning it into a downloadable 90-day digital product that people can print out and use. They're gonna go to a page that has a video from me and invites them to have access to our membership for free for the first 30 days. Inside or after that, it's $12.50 a month. You can go in there, rob all our resources and cancel. I invite you to. It'll be impactful and change your life for good. But we hope you stay and want to stay with us. And that's our tribe. That's our nevertheless narrators. These are people that have accepted that they're not the author of their own stories, and they're leaning into being the narrators of their story and really focusing on the neuroscience of happiness and changing the way that they think. We do that through our community. We do that through monthly Zoom calls with neuroscientists, thought leaders, myself, through tons of tactics and methodology that's in there. So that's what you're going to be invited to just come to that page, sign up, experience it for a month and see what you think. And you can go or stay in either way. We just really want to help everybody change the way that they think, because in my mind, that is the gateway to greatness, to our own personal greatness.
Especially here. I mean, right now in an economy like this, and it's not going to get any better. It's going to get worse before it gets better, depending on the time of the recording. But there's a lot of opportunity. There are a lot of people working from home that have never worked from home before. They're kind of getting a taste of it. Yeah. There are people right now thinking, what am I going to do next? Sometimes going through processes like this, whatever works for you. But what Shelby's talking about, you literally could be 30, 60, 90 days to literally having a different thought process with I didn't even realize this type was a business. I didn't realize I had this opportunity. It's one of the reasons that I'm doing the summit is we have 70 some different speakers. I thought it was going to be 20, but I'm asking all these questions. Shelby, what are you doing? Well, let me talk about brain science and how I can help people emotionally change their thought process to make better decisions. Really, Dan Clark, hey, let's talk about better music that can help do lots of different, this is great. So I appreciate the tool. I'll have the link on here a couple of different times. So last thing before we run, because I got another interview right after this. 2020, a little crazy. So what's one of the things that it sounds like you did a pivot, but what are some of the things you're sharpening your skills on now that you're looking at to really hone in on for the rest of the year?
The things I'm sharpening my skills on now is I am on a mission not only to show people how to transform their relationship with pain into one of their greatest tools for finding and maintaining joy, but I really specifically want to help entrepreneurs look at their brand and understand how to make their brand someone else's nevertheless. Because everybody that's searching for whatever you have to sell, whether it's a product or a service or information, they're looking for a solution. And what I want to help businesses do is to become more authentic and humanize their brand so that their solutions are the answer to other people's nevertheless. That's what I'm honing in on. How can I take this brain science and help other people humanize their brand and connect with people on a deeper, more meaningful level? And so that is something that I'm so excited about, of taking this science into another realm.
One of the things that we've talked to, kind of wrap this whole thing up with all the other experts, everyone's basically talked about this, from good friends of ours, Josh Lee, Eric Louvier, the list goes on and on and on. We've all talked about driving thousands of clicks, getting, hundreds of thousands of clicks, getting tens of thousands of emails, to now, today, having better conversations with a smaller audience to make a bigger impact. And that's what people are looking for. And I know that's one of the things that you're working on. So I love you. I appreciate you. Tell your amazing husband, wherever he is, that I love him and appreciate him too. Yes. I always like to see that smiley, happy face. So miss you guys. They're in another state now, away from us. I was supposed to be in the same state and city with you. That got canceled as well. So
I know we were supposed to be hugging in like a week.
Social distancing. So we're going to practice right now.
Please social distance. I'm a fan of social distancing.
That right. Take care. Appreciate you.
Bye. Thank you so much.